It was like a 4-week block, which was pre-decided that, okay, this week, this is going to be the focus. Probably 1 week, it'll be more of running, just to balance out everything.
Hi, I am Alok and I'm your host at Fit Aerobic. Welcome to Fitness Pro Chat, the podcast by Fit Aerobic.
Welcome to Fitness Pro Chat by Fit Aerobic. If you're looking to improve your health and well-being to lead a healthy, fit, and fulfilling life, whether you're an amateur or a professional athlete, this podcast is for you.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you all. I am elated once again to speak with Shivangi Sarda. Shivangi has been an inspirational Ironman athlete. She is a strength and conditioning coach, and she has excelled at IRONMAN Triathlon in Germany in 2023. Earlier, she has been a national level basketball player and a runner who has successfully completed several half marathons. Welcome to the show, Shivangi.
Thank you, Alok, for inviting me again. I'm looking forward to our conversation today.
Shivangi, this is our conversation for the second time, and in between you have achieved some remarkable credential, and Ironman Triathlon being one of them, which is like 3.8 kilometers of swimming, 180.2 kilometers of cycling, 42.2 kilometers of running, that too in 13 hours, 47 minutes. How was your journey from half Ironman that you did at Chongqing in China now to a full Ironman?
When I did the half Ironman, I think that was the same thought which I had that, I'm not going to do anything more than this because that was challenging enough. The thought of doing something like this where it's like swimming open waters 3.8 kilometers, then riding 180 back to back, and then, running a marathon 42.2 kilometers. When I first thought of this, I thought it's like, how are people doing it? And I just got inspired by the challenge because I like to challenge myself, like, just to test my ability as an athlete and, as a fitness coach. So, yeah, I mean, before signing up, there were a lot of thoughts, self-doubt, I think, before signing up. But yeah, once I started, I think it's been one of the most incredible experience, both training-wise and event-wise so far.
So would you also explain about the format of this event?
Yes. So you have to do a 3.8 kilometer swim, which is to be done. So every event has its own cutoff time. So for your swimming 3.8, you get 2 hours, 20 minutes to finish it. Then you have to ride for 180 kilometers. Combined swim and the ride needs to be done in 9 hours, 30 minutes. And then your run starts. The run leg and the entire run, swim and bike needs to be done in 15 hours, 30 minutes. Now, every course has different cutoff, but this was the cutoff for the Hamburg event which I did.
And everything has to be done in a continuous loop, right? There are no breaks.
There are no breaks, and you wouldn't want to take breaks because everything has a cutoff, and you don't want to DNF in any of the disciplines. And also the transition time where, say, for example, you come out of the lake or the sea, you're swimming in, running to your bike, changing your gear, everything is counted in this. So the transition time also plays a major role because you're running to the bike, changing your clothes, taking the bike to the start point. So, all those things also is counted in the entire timing. So you wouldn't want to take any breaks, definitely.
That's really awesome, actually, to achieve this kind of weight in such an incredible time. What did your workout and nutritional schedule look like when you were training for Ironman?
So I did have a good running base and strength base because, that's something that I do regularly. So I had been doing that. Now, so this event was in June. I wasn't sure if I want to do it because, it's a big challenge and it requires a lot of time and efforts and other resources as well. So I went for a practice swim because I do have a lot of fear of open water. I'm not a swimmer myself. I learned swimming for triathlon. And especially when you're not in the open water and you're swimming in the pool is so different. So in January, I got a chance to go to Goa where there was a swimathon. So I thought, I should just get into the water, get the fear out. So once I did that, I decided that, there is a chance for me to take up this challenge. So yeah, February is when I actually signed up and, started training for this event. And so it was a lot of base building because I'd not been actually swimming or riding before this. So I used to almost swim 2 to 3 times because that's my weakest point. I had set up an indoor trainer because going outdoor for cycling is not possible all the time because you want to venture out early to avoid the heat and the traffic. So I set up an indoor trainer. So it was almost about 8 to 9, sometimes 10 training sessions, including my strength training. I also had to add a little bit of mobility work specifically for this because your body gets too tight doing so much of physical activity.
True.
In terms of nutrition, so I've been a vegetarian for over 6 years now. I didn't really make any specific changes. It was just that, of course, when you're training twice in a day and at that volume, you need to increase your calorie intake. That's like the basic rule. So I had to, of course, add a lot of, say, for example, if I was having like 4 meals a day, I had to add like a couple of more meals, which is a big challenge because your body is not used to taking in so much of food. So my major food calorie intake would change based on like my training in that day. I would have like a good pre-workout, mostly like a toast with peanut butter or banana. Yeah, so
Okay.
I think for such events, your what you're having before your training session, during your training session, and after plays a very big role. So that was something I was very disciplined about all throughout.
That's really awesome because I would say this is one of the toughest competitions in the world that you competed against, and you have accepted this challenge, and you did very well in that. So what were the challenges you faced while you were training for this competition?
So I think for everyone it'll be different. For me personally, as I mentioned, like swimming had been the biggest challenge. Like I would say midway during the training also there were times where I was like I may not even meet the cutoff because I'm not an efficient swimmer. And if you don't meet the cutoff, you're out of the game. So those challenges. I still remember I did a 4 kilometer swim in the pool, and you have to practice your nutrition. So I took a carb gel, I had banana, and then I threw up I think 3.5 kilometers. So to come back and finish the swim. So those challenges were there. Other than that, things like managing your work, because my work is also physical, being a fitness coach. So managing work with with the training. That's one. There were some incidents when you planned an outdoor ride, say 100 kilometers plus, and I had a puncture, so I had to do the entire training session indoors. So to be
Oh,
open to such challenges because you've planned something outdoor and you've got a brick session. So to like
true.
at that point be calm, figure out what needs to be done, and shift the entire session indoor. So I mean, those were the small challenges I would say, but in the end, when I look back, I think it helped me grow as a person and an athlete.
Absolutely. So, can you share some nutritional challenges? Because you are a vegetarian. For a vegetarian, usually there are a lot of deficiencies which a non vegetarian diet would not have, especially in terms of vitamins and minerals, typically, and also protein that is very much required for nutrition and preparation for these kind of competitions. So, what was the challenges that you faced as a vegetarian preparing for an Ironman event?
When I went to study for my master's, actually, I met a lot of athletes who were vegan, who were vegetarian, and that's where my thought process changed. Where I understood that if you plan it properly, if you're, supplementing it right, you will not face any challenges being a vegetarian or a vegan or whatever diet you would, or for any of these events. And for an endurance event, the percentage of protein, of course, plays a major role. But of course, you need to also increase the amount of carbs and fats you're taking because you are burning so much during your training as well, and especially
True.
during the event.
True.
So what I made sure was that I generally do that. Not even if I'm not even training for an event, I would like maintain a diet to see what I'm eating, because sometimes in your mind you're eating less or more, and you're actually not
Yes.
doing enough. So I did
Yes.
that for a couple of weeks and I saw. So I made sure that every meal was balanced, which is something I've been following for like 5, 6 years now. So say for example, if I'm having a serve of poha, which is carbs, I will make sure to add a source of protein. So like black chana or sprouts or something like this. That'll be
Yes.
my basic breakfast. But I did add vegan protein powder because of course that was required to like get
Absolutely.
the amount of protein. But yeah, like I had tofu, I had paneer, homemade, curd. So everything, whatever was. So I think the challenge was to eat a lot. I think that is something because you get so tired of eating the same kind of food every day. So there are times when you don't want to eat it, but like I think that is the biggest challenge, to fuel yourself with the amount of food that you need for such training events.
So, one of the important things is muscle recovery, and especially for any rigorous or physical activity. Animal based proteins typically are being relied by many athletes for muscle recovery. So, how did you address this concern in your diet?
I personally have not faced any issues, and I like to read about nutrition as well. So there is nothing that says that being on a vegetarian or a vegan diet can hamper your recovery. Whereas there are some researchers that are supporting otherwise, that they say that your recovery is faster when you're a vegetarian or a vegan diet. Although I'm not the right person because I've not done this event on a non-vegetarian diet, so I cannot really compare and tell you. When you do a rigorous training session, you need to fuel immediately, like in 30 to 40 minutes. So it's not just protein that you need to take in. There is a myth where they say that just have protein and you're sorted after your workout. It's very important that you're having your carbs as well. So that's
Absolutely.
one change that I made. So say I had a long brick session, which was say 6 hours of a session. So I would make sure that I'm eating say bread, sandwich or something post my training session. And then I'm having like scoop of protein powder. So those are the things, and I feel that nutrition, of course, plays a major role, but it's your sleep also that is very important. It really helps you with your muscle recovery and recovery in general. So I think that was one thing that I made sure that I'm not compromising on my sleep. So like I would try to get minimum 7 to 8 hours, which I try now as well to get. There are times when you have a late night and you have to wake up early, so I'll try and make it for that sleep in the afternoon. So I feel both nutrition and sleep plays a major role when you're talking about recovery.
Could you highlight your entire training schedule? And I'm sure running for 30 minutes or 1 hour definitely would not be sufficient for this kind of event. So, what was your training schedule like?
So it changed. I would have like a training block of 3 weeks where every week the load would increase, and then 1 week I'd like taper it down for recovery and then build it up. So that was the routine. But just to talk about like one week from the training block, which was say during the peak, would be morning. Monday generally I would take a rest day to recover, get a massage or something.
Okay.
Tuesday generally would my training block start. Tuesday morning, say I had like a 15-20 kilometers run. Evening I'd have like a 1.5 hour swim. And this is other than my work. So, after my run, I'd come home, do my work, then go for my swim. Next day again, either you have like a bike, so like a 1-2 hours bike session. Afternoon will be your strength. Then Thursday again. So generally I would end up doing like 2 sessions in a day. Thursday, if I have like a speed session, then I would do like an easy swim in the evening so that I'm not like, overdoing it. Fridays would be something light because Saturday, Sunday would be a heavier session. Fridays would be like a 1 hour of say swim or a run or a bike. And then I would do a strength as well because I really like to complement strength training with my other training routine. I think the most challenging would be brick sessions that will be on a Saturday or a Sunday. So that would be like, I still remember it was a 150 kilometers bike ride with a 15 to 18 kilometer run. And I finished it at about 1 in the afternoon and I came home and I'm flat lying down. And so I still remember that. So the long brick sessions were definitely the most challenging out of the entire routine. So brick is when you do 2 disciplines back to back to get used to, the change. Because when you're riding, a different set of muscles are getting used. And when you're running, it's a different set of muscles. So I would do like 100 kilometers ride, quickly come change. So it was more like a practice for the race day as well. And then start running without a break. So, those were the challenging but the fun sessions, I would say.
In between all of these 3 different events that you practiced, so how exactly did you manage your time in terms of how much time you have to devote for each of these activity that you were doing on a day-to-day basis?
So in the beginning, I knew that swimming is something I really need to work on because my form was not right. And how much can you push from your physical strength, right? You need a good form. So for the first 3 to 4 weeks, I did work on some drills and, improving as much as I could. I knew that I have a very short window, so I can't give it all for improving the stroke. But whatever I could, so, that was something I was focused on in the first month, that I need to get that confidence, do as much as I can to improve my stroke, so that I also save the energy for the next 2 disciplines. Because I didn't want to burn out in the first one. So so it was not that, I decided it was like a 4-week block, which was pre-decided that, okay, this week, this is going to be the focus. Probably 1 week, it'll be more of running just to balance out everything. But in the end, it was about 16 to 18 hours of training weekly, which I now think is, it took a lot of time. It was all about, I think, being disciplined and consistent because you wouldn't want to miss any of the sessions because you feel that, that'll hamper the next session. And so 4 to 5 months, you're completely into it, focused on doing all the training sessions.
So are 4 to 5 months enough for someone who is just starting, or they require more time to prepare their body to become endurance runner first and then try out something like this?
So it's subjective. Like some people have the strength to do it. So probably
Yeah.
they could. But realistically, yes, like I did have a decent base of running because I did a 50K, in December. And, I've been doing a lot of strength training. So I had a decent base to do it. So I think a good 6 to 8 months of training can help somebody achieve it. But yeah, it is very individual. Some people could take years, some people could do it faster.
Are there any difference between vegans or vegetarians and meat eaters in terms of performance or endurance that you would have seen?
I've been reading and I've been following a lot of athletes. People are now really advocating vegan diet because they say the recovery is faster. They're able to, especially in terms of endurance, what I'm talking about. So a lot of athletes I follow are also trying to switch their diet. So I personally not felt that I'm feeling that my strength levels have gone down or anything being on a vegetarian diet. But I know that I've met people who've been eating non-veg and they've done the event vegan, vegetarian. So it's different. But yeah, in terms of personally, I know a few people who are vegan who've done this event, and probably they must have done it better than me as well. And it goes, yeah. So I think if we go from research, there are some research papers who are supporting being a vegetarian and vegan in the endurance game.
So, from your training, like when you completed this race, so what was your reaction like?
So, to be very honest, it's been over 6 months now, and it's still hard for me to register, and it's hard for me to explain to people that I still don't have, the memory of the entire event. Because you're so much in the zone,
True.
you're just doing everything back to back. And so I still remember crossing the finish line, but I don't remember seeing people around me, or it's just that feeling of crossing the finish line. I had my sister standing there, but I don't remember seeing her as well. So it's yeah, I mean, I'm still trying to take it in. I think it's been, very great opportunity, which I got to live that moment. Yeah.
One, I would say, very important question is some of your favorite moments from training and from the main event, if you would want to share that were like quite inspirational for you as well.
So in the training, I think I love when something is challenging. I think that really helps me. That's the drive for me to do things. So I used to find it very challenging. And my family and friends can tell me I have to come back and be like, I don't think so I can do it. Especially the swim part. It's too
Yes.
challenging for me to do the distance, especially with my speed because I'm not efficient. So those. So tackling those challenges, I think, has been inspirational, and that gives you a very positive mindset that if you are positive, if you're focused, you can achieve things. So that's one. In terms of the event day, I think Hamburg was a great event. Like I've not done anything internationally at this level. So the crowd was incredible. I still remember during the run leg, which was through the city. So it was a Sunday. So, the families were out. The entire route was with the locals. They were literally playing
Uh-huh.
music. There were
Ah,
kids, everybody
nice.
just cheering you for the entire, the 42
Wow.
kilometers. So I still cannot forget it. Like my name was written, and of course, for them to pronounce, there were small kids who they were just shouting, go Shiv," because they could not pronounce my name. So those
Okay.
things, I think so. The entire energy, and when we started, before the swim, also they run a routine like the Ironman team. So the warm up routine, so everything it felt so magical. Finishing the swim, the support. So yeah, I think that is very inspirational. And I saw somebody who was I think 72-year-old female. She literally crossed the finish line before me.
Wow.
So that was wow. Like people talk about age, and she was really strong even after finishing. So those moments they stay with you. Yeah.
Did you face any kind of, say, mineral or vitamin deficiency during your preparation? Would you want to share that?
So I do get regular tests done because the physical activity levels are quite high for me. Even if I'm not training for say Ironman, I'm doing marathons or some kind of training for some event. So
Yeah.
I do get my test twice a year just to see where I am. So gratefully there were no deficiencies because I take care of it. I do supplement my diet with the B12 because that's something that's quite commonly missing in vegetarian diet and vegan diet. I took magnesium during my Ironman training because that helps you
Okay.
with recovery. So in the night, I would take magnesium tablet. I also incorporated flaxseed, so the omega-3
Yes.
tablets. So
Yeah.
I didn't want to go with the one with the fish oil. So I took the flaxseed oil, instead of that. So this, I think, yeah, these three things were something that was very regular in my, routine. And D12. So
Okay.
these four supplements I generally take care of. During my Ironman training, I did add coconut oil in my routine. So the
Okay.
cold pressed coconut oil. So I would have it alternate days just to increase the fat percentage in my whole nutrition. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm sure there must be a lot of misconception as well, because when you would have interacted during your training program with a lot of people who are with a non-running background, they would also be trying to contribute their own part to your journey, and you would also be having interactions with your peers and trainers regarding your training. So how did you manage and overcome these misconceptions during your training?
Yeah, so gratefully, I do have a very supportive, bunch of people around me who are very positive and motivating me. But yeah, I mean, there are instances where, so first when I spoke to somebody that I'm doing this, and they were like, okay, so for females maybe the distances would be less. So I said no, it's same for women and men. That was one thing, that probably for women the distance of swim would be less than male. So that was
Uh-huh.
one. Second was the cutoff time more for females. So that
Okay.
the cutoff time of all the disciplines.
Uh-huh.
So those were the things. Then yeah, that if you overdo it, you'll get injured. Running so much is not good for you. You'll get injured. You're losing so much weight. You're losing so, plus of course, because of so much training, you do end up losing some amount of muscle, and so you lose all your muscle. You lose all your body weight. So those kind of concepts. But yeah, I mean, I do understand that these kind of extreme events can take up a big chunk of energy from you. But then I think I was aware that I'm signing for something like this. It will require a lot of mental strength, and it will require you to be very focused and not get distracted from people commenting on things. So I think a lot of runners, especially women runners, I think that's what they follow, where you have to listen to people and be respectful, but sometimes you need to do
Yes,
what you feel like doing.
absolutely.
Yeah.
How did you work on building your endurance? And I know you are a marathoner yourself. You have done several races, and in the past, you've also run half Ironman. But for someone who is just starting out, haven't even done a 5K, but definitely maybe someday they want to do an Ironman. So, where exactly they should start this training and how?
The step would be to probably how I started. Like, I had no background of triathlon. So I, took 6 months when I did my 2019 70.3. So it's always good to have these smaller goals to achieve your bigger goal. For somebody who is starting out, and somebody reached out to me, and I spoke to him as well and told him that, first what you need to do is probably just do a 21.1, like reach your half marathon
Yeah.
goal,
Yes.
achieve that, and simultaneously start swimming, like so you need to have all the activities in your routine. But I think the most important thing is patience, because it will take time, and there are going to be instances probably where you think that you might be able to do it next year, but it might get delayed for some reason, so you have to accept those things which are not in your control. So if somebody is just starting out, so step one is to do a 5K, progress to a 10K, then you go on to a 21. So, you've cleared that mark of their run, which is the last discipline. Cycling
Absolutely.
also, say, I have done a couple of, say, 100 kilometers in those practice rides which I did. So, yeah, I mean, it's about doing everything, have these small goals, which will give you the confidence of, say, doing something bigger. For me, I think people don't focus that much on strength, but I feel that strength training plays a major role, because it gives you immense strength to, have that power to do such events. And also it helps you avoid injuries. So I think that is
Yes.
one thing when we are trying to do an endurance sport, there is a lot of scope of injuries because of the muscle imbalances. So I think if you can also incorporate some source of strength training in your routine, that will help you achieve your goal.
What would you suggest to anyone how they should plan their intervals of strength training and running and swimming, and then you have cycling as well? So a lot of activities to be done
Yeah.
in order to build endurance. So, and you have just 7 days in a week. So how would someone try and organize their week in a way so that they're able to address each and every aspect of what needs to be done for an Ironman?
Yeah. Starting from strength, when you're training for an event like Ironman, you need to understand you're doing strength training to just say, maintain your current strength and also avoid injuries. What
Yes.
mistake we do is that we want to also push ourselves in the strength. Like, I want to improve my deadlift weight. That's not possible. You don't want to excel in
True.
all the
True.
fields, right? So first thing is to
Yes.
understand that if you're doing strength when you are, say, even doing a marathon or a triathlon, it's there to be an accessory. It's to supplement your performance and not something where you want to like that. I want to improve here as well. So once you get that in your head, so I never like when I do strength training, like especially during in season, I'm not looking at reaching my PR in a deadlift, right? So it's about
True.
maintaining. So that's
True.
step one to understand. Realistically, with all the other disciplines, 2 days of strength training is good. That's my suggestion. If somebody can squeeze in three, that'll be great. So 2 days of full body sessions rather than doing upper body, lower body, those splits or back and chest. I believe that when you're doing just twice, it's always good to have like a full body routine. So that helps you in your strength training. In terms of swimming, yeah. So swimming actually in a way also helps in like it's more like a recovery also sometimes if you're not pushing because you're in water and it is a great source of
Yeah.
recovery. So sometimes
Yes.
you'll come out of water and you're feeling more refreshed than you when you entered, even if you've done like 2 kilometers or something.
Uh-huh.
So swimming generally could be 2 to 3 days. One day could be where you're just doing an easy recovery swim. So this is
Okay.
this is I'm talking about a week. So like 2 strength sessions, 2 to 3 swims is good. One is more like a recovery swim where you're not really focused on speed or anything. You're just in the water.
Yeah.
And 2 sessions you can focus that one day I want to focus on distance. One day I want to focus on improving my stroke or my speed. In
Okay.
terms of running, same 2 to 3 days. It's very important to have those easy days also because
Yes.
not every time you want to go and be all out and give your all out effort. So yeah, so if you can
Absolutely.
manage like 2 to 3 sessions of running and probably you can say that okay, this week if I'm unable to do one extra run, that's okay. So you have to
Yes.
accept those things as well. Then in terms of cycling, I think the brick session helps a lot. So say if not every week, every alternate week, you should have that brick session. So like a bike.
Okay.
So yeah, if you want to train for an event, you should be able to take out say 8 to 9 sessions of training in the entire week. Yeah, and I think the step one is to be disciplined and not miss sessions and try to then if say for example I missed an evening session, I don't want to do it next day and make it 3 sessions for the next day. So it's okay if you have missed something, it's about moving on.
So, is there any recommendation on how many kilometers of swimming must be done?
So I cannot give you any recommendation because it will be very subjective. It will be so as to somebody has 4 months of training to somebody who's been training for a year. But definitely you need to get in say at least one 4K swim. That's my personal. Some people may say that you don't have to do a 4 kilometers. Like how for running a marathon they say that you can do a 36 and run a 42.2.
Yeah.
But to get that fear out, so I think good you should be doing a few 3 kilometers, 3.4, just get that distance in your head.
Uh-huh.
Then yeah, otherwise it'll depend a lot on how much training time you have and where you are coming in terms of if you're a new swimmer or you're a seasoned swimmer. So those things will play a major role.
Would you also want to share or talk about any running group or peers or any trainers who you connected to gather inspiration and inputs on your preparation for Ironman?
Yes, so I have my mentor, Mr. Amit Chaturvedi. He's himself has done
Okay.
an Ironman.
Uh-huh.
So he's somebody who's guided me all throughout.
Okay.
So he helped
Okay.
me with the plan and everything. And then I have somebody in Jaipur, Brijendra sir. So he's
Okay.
like one of the best riders in Jaipur. So
Okay.
whenever I had to go for a long ride, there was no way I could go alone. So even if it was like
Nice.
3 o'clock, 3:30 in the morning, he was there. All the long rides,
Amazing.
because we had to go to the highway and start early.
Absolutely.
So yeah, he was there. He would tell me that you need to change the gear now, and many small tips which helped me a lot. I think such an event. I personally feel it's the family, friends, everybody plays a major role to keep your spirits high and to keep you motivated. So my sister, she traveled from Melbourne till Hamburg, which
Uh-huh.
is like a very very long journey, but she was there
Oh,
to support me and my family also because you
absolutely.
need a positive environment when you're going through such a challenging kind of a routine.
Absolutely. How were you able to manage your personal and time for this event?
I think personally, then you don't really have much time to do anything. As I say that on weekends, like if you are riding say 180, you are waking up at like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. So you don't really have any weekends
Absolutely.
to like hang out with friends and chill. I mean, I won't even say it's a compromise. Those are the choices that you make when you want to
Uh-huh.
do something like this. And I think your friends and family eventually they start understanding. So I think, but what I enjoyed most was that, when I was riding indoors, I would watch a lot of Netflix and, so I think that was the time I could catch up on things I was missing on. So like if I'm riding 3 hours, 4 hours, I would put a movie or some series. So those are the things. But then I think you were aware that, when you're signing for such an event, that there are going to be some
Exactly.
changes that you have to make to achieve your goal.
Coming to a very important question of the day, what next? What's your vision for the future and any new challenge that you would want to accept after Ironman?
So for now, I want to focus on improving as a runner. I think I
Okay.
want to improve my timing and just try to get better at say all the distances. So that's one. Yeah, in future, let's see what next. I like it when there's something new that comes up, and I think when people around you are doing such events, you feel that it's achievable. So you
Absolutely.
end up signing up. But yeah, for now, I want to focus on improving my performance in running.
Absolutely. With this, we come to the last question for today's show. What are the top three recommendations that you would have for anyone who's preparing for Ironman or any races in future?
One is that don't compare your journey with others. We end up doing that because we do have a lot of sources like social media, a lot of apps. So if
Absolutely.
somebody is doing say 50 kilometers, probably they're on a different level, and they've
True.
put in that work. So I think that's
True.
one, that it's your journey, and you really need to be focused on and know yourself. There are days
Absolutely.
when I wake up and I'm like, okay, today I'm not ready for a speed session because probably I had a long work day. So you need to
Yes.
understand and then change your routine accordingly. That's one. Second, don't be afraid. You can achieve whatever goal you've set for yourself, but you
True.
need a plan and a structure. So
Yes.
say whatever next goal you have, if you plan it properly and you have a good structure, you can achieve it. And yeah, I think be patient and be realistic also. Where also try to incorporate strength training. I always say this not just for triathletes, runners, and all the other sports because that'll help you improve your performance and also avoid a lot of injuries.
Thank you so much, Shivangi, for joining me today. And I'm sure we will soon get a chance to speak once again on maybe on some other intriguing topic. And maybe once you have tried a new challenge in
Hopefully.
future.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Shivangi. Pleasure
Thank
speaking
you.
with
Thank
you.
you. It was again, nice catching up, and I hope what we've talked about will help somebody.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's a wrap. Thank you for listening to Fitness Pro Chat by Fit Aerobic. We hope you had key takeaways from today's episode and learned something new. Don't forget to download and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. And leave us a rating and review on your favorite platform. In the meantime, reach out to us on Instagram at Fit Aerobic or through our website, fitaerobic.com. And remember, failures will only make you strong and better learn. Take care, stay healthy, and live a fulfilling life with Fit Aerobic.